Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Counsel of the Day with Shanrae. I do own the rights to this song. This is my holiday song that's on my album, Long Time Coming, and I do own the rights to this song. It's called Seasons, and the Lord gave me this song to write, and it's about more than just a holiday season, but it's about a new season that's in your life. So good evening, everybody, as you're coming in. Please share, and excuse me, I'm sorry, bend over for a minute. I am multitasking. I am going to, y'all share as you come in. So good to have you to Counsel the Day with Shanrae. This is our last week for this second series this quarter. And then I will come back in February of 2019. So this is the last week of our second quarter. But it's so good to see you again. I do own the rights to this song. This is my song, Seasons. That is on my album, Long Time Coming. Please share as you come in. All right. And I'm going to put something on here. As I'm in here, so good to have you. Hi, Juanita. How are you? I'm going to cut this music right now. All righty then. I'm going to put something on my webpage really quickly, and I want you all to continue to share it. But it's so good to see you all this evening. Let me find myself on here now so I can add this. And then you all continue to share, please. I am going to cut my sound very briefly. All right. I am getting ready to add this is something that I want to put on, and it's called I Still Do and Remember. And this is a free online course for marriages. And I want you all to continue to please share this. But we're going to go on and get started this evening. Again, when you see me moving around, I'm multitasking. So good evening. All right, let me start with my disclaimer. Please be aware that due to the nature of the technology that I am using, there could be no assurance of confidentiality when using this online service. It should also be noted that due to changes in policies, all replies are to be used as advisory and informational only, and will not constitute an official determination. Information provided by myself or any other person that is sharing life experiences or a spiritual leader are subject to the limitations of current and available material. The final responsibility for successfully achieving a goal rests with you, the individual. And so information online is designed to be helpful. However, this information does change frequently, and it is recommended that you, the individual, will consult another physician, another therapist, another specialist, or your religious leaders to aid in your overall behavioral wellness. So we are going to get started this evening. So glad to have you all here tonight. The topic, this is my final week for this second series, and this is my last week, and then I will we'll come back on February 2019 for the month of February. So this week's subtopic, because I've been talking about all month long, the family unit. And now this week's topic is marriage and the change of life. And so we're going to start out with the scripture that I chose for this month. Hi, Tarita. How are you? So good to see you all this evening. I am a Christian counselor. I'm educated in psychology. I have been doing this for a number of years, counseling and life coaching. So I do have experience in this, to do this. So we're going to get started, and please feel free to add your comments. If someone wants to come in live, I will welcome you in, as long as we're here, because we're here for overcoming purposes, for our overall behavioral wellness and healing and happiness. So that's what we're here for this evening. My scripture for the month has been Matthew chapter 19, 5 and 6. And it says, "Therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother and hold fast to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. They are no longer two, but one flesh. Wherefore, what therefore God has joined together, let no man separate. And we have been talking about these topics all month long. Not your parents. Don't let them separate your marriage. Not your children. Not your minor children, and not your adult children. Not outside friends, not outside family, not your homeboys, not your homegirls, not your exes. Don't let anybody, not even your church family or your pastors, don't let them separate what God has joined together. I'm also going to read a second scripture that I wrote down, and I'm just going to give you a little bit of it. But I want us to take this, I don't want you to take this out of context, but I'm going to bring everything together as we're going along. Proverbs 18:22, and I am reading the King James Version. It says, whosoever findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtaineth favor of the Lord. Proverbs 31:10 and 31, and I'm not reading this whole thing. It says, who can find a virtuous? This is the King James Version. Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. So I always try to give you a definition from the Webster's Merriam Dictionary. So I'm going to give you a definition of the husband. And Webster's Dictionary says that the definition of a husband is a married man considered in relationship to his spouse. A definition of a wife says a married woman considered in relationship to her spouse. So that is what the definition Webster's Merriam Dictionary is when it comes to woman and a man. And I've already defined marriage throughout the whole thing. You can go back to my former videos, and you can read the definition of marriages that I gave from the Webster's Dictionary. So I'm gonna move quick, y'all, and y'all talk to me as you're coming in. Wave at me, let me know that you're here. But we're gonna move it along because this is about healing. Our healing and overcoming. And we as Christian believers, or we who just believe in love and in marriage, we know that we can overcome any obstacle. Any obstacle is, and I talk about that triangle with God is the center, and then you have him and her with this triangle here, or that 3-strand cord. It cannot be broken. Your marriage cannot be broken. Not even if we put ourselves up under or asunder. All right. So I want to talk about the 7 stages of marriage. What are the 7 stages of marriage? So I'm going to start, and y'all wave at me as you come in. If you have any insight, we're going to just talk to me. Talk to me. So from blissful young bride and groom to pottering grandparents, we trace the traditional phases couples go through. And it says if they make it past the 7-year itch. Woo! Anthony Moore, all right, Pastor Moore, he waving. It says if they make it through that 7-year itch. All right, so, and we're going to come back to that 7-year itch, y'all. The first stage that we experience, hi Michael Grace, that we experience is called euphoria. Euphoria. And some of you go on and you can take your notes if you want. So what is it to be young and in love? The wedding was the best day of both of our lives. The bride looked radiant. The groom remembered to thank everyone in his speech. The champagne flowed. That's if you had champagne. And when they went on a honeymoon, they barely left their bedroom for the entire fortnight. Hi, Neva. Yes, hi, Queen. So when they stagger exhausted off of the plane, most of they move into their first marital home and tweet pictures of themselves, or we that got married a little bit earlier, we didn't tweet anything. People just took pictures of our wedding. And they standing on top of ladders with paintbrushes in their hands and silly expressions on their face. And they go to dinner with other smug married couples. And everyone agrees, hi, Kim. Everyone agrees that although they're tremendously grown up, they don't feel remotely old. Okay, I think I skipped something. Oh, no, I didn't. They go clubbing all night long, or we go to church programs all night long, you know. And they love the fact that they don't even have to think about picking somebody up. Now, with that secularly, even in the church, people still, they still date. They figure out who they're going to pick up in the church. And they still have sex, because we all grown, so I can talk about this. We're married. They still have sex. Oh boy, do they have sex. She looks great in her barely visible agent provocative knickers, and his six-pack is still in shape. And they're fecal and fertile. And is that a blue line on the pregnancy test? Because it was with me, y'all. It was with me. I stayed pregnant the first 3-4 years of our marriage. It was me. Okay. The blue line all the time. Wave your hand if some of y'all went through that too. The second stage is called exhaustion. So the first stage is euphoria. The second stage of marriage is exhaustion. Okay, so they're tired. We're tired. You're shattered. And there's being a mother. You're being a mother. Anthony Moore laughing. You can't remember what a good night's sleep feels like anymore. You're up breastfeeding at 3 a.m. You're devoured by an infant's gum and seething with resentment while your bone-idle husband snores like a fat old hog and wakes up in the morning demanding breakfast. Okay? Now, this is just some of the research, because everything I do is from research. His libido, meanwhile, has just about recovered from the grievous mistake of looking down, a mistake of looking down just as the baby's head poked out. But, because some men do get grossed out as the baby's coming out, but they wake up later, they grow up and whatever. Okay, but all they care about now is the baby. They love the baby, of course, but they also would like their wife to pay them a little bit more attention, which we did talk about, preferably while horizontally laying down. Okay, but a lot of times with a new baby, you can't, because you're too tired. And so they just settle into parenthood, and all of these years of crunches and kindergartens and parents and evenings and Christmas and all of this stuff just, it just takes away that first stage, which is, again, euphoria. Hold on, because we're at exhaustion. I'm sorry. Okay. And then preferably, okay. I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought. Though the wife does Pilates or some form of exercise, and Audrey said, good evening, Audrey, some kind of exercise, we're not as trim as we used to be. So a lot of times couples are just sitting at home on Saturday night watching another mad woman watching some kind of movie or something like that. And this is the second stage of marriage, where you go from euphoria into exhaustion. The third stage of marriage is called enticement. So she meets a man at the gym, and he's funny, and there's a glint in his eye as he flirts and flatters in a way that her husband hasn't done that since before the children. And now there are two children that are born. So meanwhile, the husband is getting to know the 24-year-old girl in marketing or somewhere on their job, who still has the fresh, dewy optimism of youth. What is wrong with the men? Going for the real young girls. Okay, I'm going to get off of that.